Hey everybody, Health Coach Art here, and today I got a pretty cool treat for you. I'd like you to meet Kathryn Gray. She is a fairly new coach starting out in her business, and it's quite a unique niche. So I thought it would be interesting to interview her and let her tell us about her story, what she does, and what brought her to that point. Good morning, Kathryn.
Good morning, Arthur. How are you today?
I'm just great. And first of all, where are you in the world?
I am 26 miles west of Chicago. So I'm
Okay.
in the suburbs of Chicago in Illinois.
Okay, so it's probably a nice, bright, warm, sunny day there, right?
It's not too bad. It's in the 40s, so
Okay.
that's better than the zeros
For
and
Chicago, that's
below.
pretty good this time of year, right?
Yeah, it is.
I have been there when it was not so good. So I'll stay in Southern California. Thank you.
Sounds good.
So why don't we just start off with well, first of all, your coaching niche is dream building, you said, right?
Dream. Yes.
Okay. So we'll leave it at that. That's kind of a teaser for now, but what I'd like you to do is just kind of tell us about your journey. I know you're an engineer full time right now, and you're still going through your coaching training, correct?
Um, yes, I am. I'm almost done.
Okay. So yeah, why don't you just tell us what it was that inspired you to become a coach and most especially in this particular niche?
Okay, well, I've been I've had an engineering company for a long time. Um, it's getting to a point where I want to do something different. And all through my career, I've been a mentor to younger engineers, to kids thinking about engineering or thinking about what career they want to go into. And at some point, I started getting involved in, um, I started going through like programs that Dean Graziosi had and Tony Robbins. And I started thinking, I've been doing all this time, but I have never called myself a coach. I've always just been somebody who's been helpful. And the way they presented it is that the people need to hear what you have to say. They need to hear what the backgrounds are, how to get to where they want to go. And so I joined one of his classes, Dean's classes, that taught you how to be a coach. I was like, oh, okay, I'll be a coach. And that way I can do something that I love to do as I'm winding down my engineering career. So that's how I got started. And then I ran into Mary Morrissey from some information I saw online, and her program was about dream building. And I realized I didn't have a dream for my whole life. I always had a dream for the next stage. And I wasn't quite ready for the next stage yet. So I decided I would take her course to be a certified dream builder coach.
Huh.
And that way I could find my dream and help others find theirs.
So when you talk about dream building, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because what comes to mind is the dream career, or I guess that could be anything, right? Is this something that we really want to reach for?
Exactly. So what it is the actual activity that we do is we start with building what is your vision for the future in different areas of your life, in your vocation, in your health, in your um, relationships, time and money freedom. Those are things that people maybe they're not thinking of them in that way, but everybody has those thoughts. And once you get to a point where you can figure out where you want to be and the timeline for when you want to be there, then all of a sudden you can start setting the goals to get you there. The yearly goals, the monthly goals, the weekly goals, the goals for your day. And that's how I help to connect whatever the vision is to where they're going to get to and connect them with the people they need to be with. It's just, it's a process. And I go through a 12-week program with them, and they come out knowing exactly where they want to go, what they want to do, and how they're going to do it. So
Mhm.
I just love the program because it helped me tremendously.
So this is very interesting. Typically, would people come to you, um, they have a dream, but they don't know how to achieve this or what to do to get there. What would you say to the person that says, I don't have a dream. I feel like I should have a dream. I want to have a dream, but all I've done is I've worked hard all my life, or most of my life. I've been kind of stuck in this career and I don't haven't thought beyond that, but I feel like I should. What would you say to that person?
At first, I'd ask a question. Do you really feel stuck? Because if you feel stuck, you're in the wrong career.
Mm.
That would be my first question. But what I tend to do is talk to them about what is it 3 years out that you think you want to be or do or have to actually feel like you are living your dream life.
Mhm.
Like you're traveling where you want to go, or maybe you don't like to travel. You have the house of your dreams, the love of your dreams. And there's so many questions involved in that people start to think, and something clicks with them. And once it does, then they start saying, oh yeah, I always wanted to live in blank, wherever it is. And but it's too expensive to live there,
Mm.
or some other excuse. Well, we get rid of the excuses, get rid of the paradigms, and we look at the truth and get them to where they want to go.
Very interesting. So typically, you're not targeting a specific gender or age group. It's just anybody. Is that accurate?
Well, I started by targeting stressed, overwhelmed working moms because
There's a
I
lot of
was
those.
I was a stressed, overwhelmed working mom because I was involved in so many things. But I started a group, but that was my miracles group because I've experienced so many miracles in my life that I wanted to help others realize the miracles in their lives. So I was targeting these moms who, they come home to chaos, and how to find the peace and joy in the chaos.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
that's where I
remember.
started. But I have other people, older people, women without children, and even men come in to my group and want to be coached. So
So
I'm not targeting anybody specifically for dream building because everyone needs to find their vision and get to it.
yeah, yeah. Now I remember you in the group session we were in talking a little bit about these miracles, some of these miracles that you've experienced in your life. Once you and I remember this was very interesting what some of your experiences. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Maybe tell us about maybe the ones that you told the group about.
Okay, well, the first time that I actually realized that it was a miracle was when I was 16 and I broke my back doing a backflip in gymnastics and crushed a vertebrae. And the vertebra was splintered, I guess you'd call it. It was like a starburst
Mm.
out of and into my spinal cord.
That had to be painful.
Um, I, childbirth doesn't even compare. I've not had anything that compares to that pain. So
Mm.
yes, it was. And when I was sitting in the laying in the emergency room in pain, of course, my parents had already gotten to the hospital. So they were one on either side of the bed, and there were nurses and everybody trying to hook me up to pain medicine. And they had me, they put me on a board and took me to have x-rays. And the doctor came back and he's just talking about, how you doing and stuff. And I didn't realize, but he was touching my toes and my feet and my legs. And then he asked me, touched my side, and he asked me each time, can you feel this? And I couldn't. And I was paralyzed from the break down. So he told me, you are going to have to get used to the fact that you're going to live a life in a wheelchair. I was an athlete. That just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
I was first in a state of shock. I couldn't even imagine being still and not running and jumping and playing basketball and being on track and all those. I couldn't imagine it. So I said, there's got to be something you can do. You can give me, can you give me traction? Can you put me in a brace? Can you give me shots or something to make it better? I was 16 years old. I didn't know what they could do. So he said, I am sorry. There's nothing that can heal this. And I was really devastated. And I looked to my dad, who was standing there, and he wasn't there. He had passed out, and the nurses had him on the next gurney.
Wow.
And my dad's a real strong man, very composed and everything, but that got him.
Being a father, I can imagine,
And so I was like, I didn't have dad to ask any questions, so I had to think of some myself. I said, there has got to be a way. What way can work? And he said, nothing. I said, doctor, I know that there has to be a way to get these fragments out of my spinal cord. He said, there's like a 1 in a million chance, but if you stayed perfectly still for at least 2 months, there's a possibility that some of the feeling will come back. I said, thank you. That's what I needed. I will stay perfectly still for 2 months. It was, of
Mm.
course, the hardest 2 months of my life, but
Like, that's
I
like,
did. I did. And they set up a hospital bed at home, and I had a nurse coming in all the time. And at the end of the 2 months, he wanted me to come back for an x-ray. So the ambulance came, had a wheelchair and everything, and they tried to stand me up. And I actually was able to stand up. And I was leaning back, of course, because I had been laying on my back for so long. I thought I was falling forward, but they got me in the wheelchair. And then when I got to the hospital, they took the x-rays, and then the technician said, I saw her stand and move to get in the wheelchair. And
you were
so,
able to stand on your own?
no, but I was able to stand
Yeah. Okay.
versus, if I think, I don't know, but if you're paralyzed, I'm not sure if you can stand or if you don't have the muscle strength to do that.
Yeah, I
So
don't think, yeah, I think your legs have
I
to.
stood up, and he held my hands and said, can you walk with me? And so I walked, and he said, this is fantastic. Of course, before that, they came and fitted me for a brace, for a back brace. So I had that on
Hmm.
to keep my back straight. But then it was just, he said, okay. And he checked everything. All of the issue was gone.
Uh-huh.
All of the bones had come out of the spinal cord and I wasn't paralyzed anymore. And I was able to walk, and then he gave me physical therapy to do, and I swam every day. By then it was summertime. And after the summer, I went back to school and I ran track again.
Wow. Isn't it fun to prove people wrong?
I think I've done that all my life.
Yeah, I love it when somebody says, "Ah, you can't do that." You just gave me my a new goal, and prove you're wrong.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
that's pretty amazing. And there was now and you're completely fine now.
absolutely.
Did you go back to
Absolutely.
gymnastics?
Yeah, I
Wow,
did.
that's just an amazing story. And I think there was something else later in life, wasn't there?
Many things, but one of them was I used to get kidney stones, and so I
That's
had
right.
to have an ultrasound. And when the tech was doing the ultrasound of one kidney, she said, "Well, you have two, we have to do both," which I didn't know. Anyway, she did the other kidney, she started it, and then she said she turned the computer away because I had been looking at the screen. She turned it away and she said, "I'll be right back." And I was like, "Oh, there must be a lot of kidney stones in there." And she came back with the radiologist, and the radiologist took over.
Hmm.
And then he asked me to come into his office after I got dressed. So I did, and I sat there and he said, "Kathryn, did you know that you have a large tumor in your left kidney?" I said, "No, I had no idea." He said, "It's growing into your artery. I need you to go see um, a nephrologist as soon as you can, a kidney doctor." So I got in there within 2 days, and I brought my sister with me because she's a nurse. I figured she knows what questions to ask. And we were in this tiny little conference room area. And the doctor knocks on the door, opens the door, and comes in. And he says, "You have a cancerous tumor in your left kidney, and it has to come out right away." Well, again, that was a shock to my system.
Yeah, I can believe it.
I couldn't believe it. And so he started explaining how he was going to take it out the old-fashioned way where they take out part of your rib and cut you half open. I don't know. And that grossed me out. And I said, "I'm not doing that. There's got to be a different way." But before we finished that conversation, my sister was asking all these questions, and I was off in some other land trying to figure out how are we going to fix this. So then I asked him, "Are you sure that it's cancerous?" She was asking, "Can you do a biopsy? All these questions. Are you sure it's cancerous?" And he said, "Yes." I was like, "Are you 100% sure it's cancerous?" And he said, "Why?" I said, "Please answer the question." And he did. He said, "I'm 96% sure." And I just looked up and said, "Oh, thank God." He said, "You want cancer?" I said, "No, there's a 4% chance it's not cancer." He said, "It's cancer." And so as soon as I said there's a 4% chance it's not, no, as soon as I said, "Thank God," I heard my little angel or whoever does that for us whisper into my ear, "You're going to be okay." And I knew I was in the 4%. And a month later, I had my surgery done by um, a different surgeon in a different hospital at Loyola in Chicago. And that doctor was able to do hand-assisted laparoscopic surgery. So they didn't have to cut me in half. They didn't have to take out half a rib. And he was a wonderful doctor. And he actually had pathology tested 3 different times, 3 different ways after my kidney was out. And he said, there is no cancer in your kidney. It was oncocytoma. I said, what does that mean? Is it bad? He said, no, there's no cancer. You're free. You're good. You're just missing a kidney, which would have had to come out anyway because it was growing into your artery. So through prayer, and gosh, we have a huge family prayer group and all their friends. I was in the 4%.
Hmm. Wow, that's quite a story.
So to me, those are little miracles. Those
Yeah,
are big
yeah,
miracles. There are little ones every day, the flowers that bloom in the springtime. But
yeah.
I can recognize miracles because of the miracles that I have experienced.
I think it's
So,
important to point out that had you not really in both those situations, when you were 16 and then with the cancer, both those situations, you really pressed on the doctor for specific answers. And how many people out there accept what the doctor tells them? Just, well, he's a doctor, he must know what he's talking about. I go home and I guess I'll die soon or something, or whatever. And I went through the same thing with my own experience with type 2 diabetes and kidney disease. My doctor said,
yeah,
you might be able to reverse the type 2 diabetes, but I've never had a patient with stage 3 kidney disease turn that around. And I just basically said, and not quote me on this, but basically said, watch me. I refused to accept the answer, and I remember going home and Googling it and everything said the same thing. So I stopped doing that. Something inside of me just raised up and said, I don't accept that. If something happens to me, I'm going to go down trying, fighting, whatever. So, but same situation, I was able to reverse my diabetes and heal my kidneys through nutrition and fitness. So particularly in the area of experiencing these miracles, how has that impact your coaching with people? I mean, do you coach on miracles and seeking miracles, or?
I do. I do coach on that. And what I'm trying to do now is to marry the dream building with the miracles.
Sure,
So
because some
that's
people's dream might be to just have good health.
yeah,
The unfortunate ones out there that are so dealing with so much, the very basic dream would be to be able to get up in the morning and have a good day.
right.
Your ideal client be for coaching?
My ideal client is someone who's really searching. They're not really happy with where they are right now. They
Mhm.
don't really know what's next or what they want to do next. They're not thinking forward to what would I be so happy? Wake up in the morning and say, oh, life is good. I can't wait to get to work.
Yeah, you're
It's
missing
not
here.
that way.
I'm sitting
If
here
it,
thinking, wow, that you're talking to me now.
well, feel free to join. It's interesting that I know if I wake up and I'm not in a great mood, I have something physically wrong.
Hmm.
So I have to, go through and think through what's going on with my body. And it could just be that I didn't get enough sleep
Mhm.
or I didn't get enough exercise. And once I realize what it is, I take care of it. Next day,
That's amazing.
life is good.
You are a beacon of inspiration.
Thank
So,
you.
there's odds are that there are people that are seeing this that need you. And what would be the best way for them to contact you? And at the end of this, I will put up whatever contact method you want so they have it, whether it's a website or email address, whatever.
Okay. Um, Probably the best one is K Gray for Kathryn Gray at kathrynscoaching.com.
Okay. Do you offer like a initial consultation type session just so people can
Absolutely.
make sure that, you know, you as a coach, you know, it's important to be a good fit for each other, and so you do. Okay, awesome.
Oh, absolutely. There are people who I know will absolutely move through the program and get everything that they've desired. And there are people who are going to come and fight all the way. And if they're going to fight and not pay attention to what's going on because it
Yeah,
can't happen, uh,
it's a
that's not
waste.
a good
It's a waste
fit.
of time and money. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? I've really enjoyed talking with you on this. As a coach myself, um, I've learned some things from you, and you're definitely an inspiration, and particularly to women out there everywhere who um, really need to hear, you know, your story. And I think it can really instill some belief, and I think you're going to do some awesome stuff.
thank you.
So, so after this, I will go ahead and put your information up there for them to contact you, and I would encourage you to at least take her up on her consultation offer, if you're the least bit curious. And everybody out there has a dream, whether you realize it or not. It's in there, right?
That's right.
Well, thank you so much, Kathryn. It's good talking
Oh,
to
you're
you.
so welcome, Arthur. I appreciate having this opportunity.